Welcome to Chicken and Life. I'm Adrienne, the turquoise lady, and today I'm going to talk about the mental health benefits of physical activity. So some of the mental health conditions that activity can help with are depression, anxiety, ADHD, PTSD, trauma, and it can also help us with resilience and healthy coping. Exercise has the benefit of giving us more energy so we can do the things we want to do. It increases our memory. Partly the reason it increases our memory is because it actually helps our brain build more brain cells. So, that is always a win. Better sleep, continuous quest in America for better sleep. Exercise helps with that. Stress reduction, increasing mood and self-esteem. Activity gives us more positive feelings about ourselves and about our life. It helps us concentrate, which is huge, helps us feel more relaxed, kind of helps slow some of the normal processes that go on with aging, helps boost immunity, helps us manage disease, and improves our sex lives. Also, it can help with weight management too. And it just really depends on how much we do, how much benefit that we get from it, okay? But any activity is better than no activity at all, okay? Some of the barriers that there are to activity, especially when we have mental health conditions going on, exhaustion can be a barrier. Feeling really overwhelmed can be a barrier. Sometimes we have feelings of hopelessness. Sometimes it's just general bad feelings about ourselves. And also outside of that, some of us have pain that we're dealing with that can get in the way of us being able to be active. So I want to take a minute to acknowledge that these can be huge barriers to physical activity, but any little bit that you can do has a benefit. So even if it's just 5 minutes of activity, that's a win. I remember there was one time that I was not in a good mood and I didn't know what to do to get out of it. And I just ended up getting up and washing the dishes. And just standing there cleaning the dishes and moving my arms around. I'm standing up, so you're using muscles to stand up in that situation, and also you're using the muscles to clean the dishes. In the end, you might go ahead and dry them and put them away. Something as simple as that gets us off the couch, gets the blood flowing, gets the immune system flowing, and helps us feel better emotionally. When we're feeling overwhelmed, because there are a lot of things going on in our lives, really, a lot of us are busy, right? Once it's a priority, it gets easier. And the idea in that situation is you're not necessarily going to be able to go for a 20-minute walk or do the elliptical for half an hour. But maybe you can just do a little bit of something here and a little bit of something there. Even if it's just a little walk, couple houses down and back, do a little dancing in your bedroom while the kids are asleep, something like that. When we're feeling bad about ourselves, sometimes it can be helpful to exercise with a friend. Depends on the person. For some of us, it's really motivating to have that social connection with somebody. It helps us feel better. Some of us do better exercising on our own, so you can just play around with it and see what works for you. Pain being a barrier, you can work with that by doing shorter amounts of exercise more often. So what is moderate activity? Moderate activity is when we're breathing a little bit harder than is normal for us, but it's not necessarily getting to where we're short of breath and we can't breathe, right? We want to be able to chat a little bit, but it should be hard for us to sing. So getting our heart rate up a little higher than it normally is, that'd be the goal. Okay, so we want to start slow, do what you can when you can. So look for that part of the day where you have more energy. So I, for instance, have very poor energy first thing in the morning. I would probably wait until the afternoon to do it if I can. And then you're more likely to get motivated to do it. If you pick a time of day there where you have no energy, it's going to be so hard to do. So looking for that time of day is really helpful. Looking for things that you like to do. I like to go for walks. My husband likes to do the elliptical. Some people like to play Frisbee. You can play Frisbee with a friend or partner. Catch, you could play catch. Maybe you play with your dog. Some of the parks, I know we have a park here in Vegas where they have Frisbee golf, so that can be a fun thing to do. And actually they have found that sunlight helps with depression too. So that is a huge win right there. Walking in the mall, a lot of the malls are open for people to walk around in before the stores actually open. So check that out. That might be a way to do it. Biking or walking to the grocery store. If you're just going to the grocery store for a couple things, obviously not when you're going for the 2 weeks worth of groceries. Gardening. Love the idea of gardening. What's great about that is you're using a lot of different muscles because you're picking up pots, you're picking up soil, you're moving around in the dirt, with the shovel or whatever. And what's good about that is that kind of getting that connection to the earth. It kind of is meditative too. And that actually, that mindfulness part is something that the article mentioned too. When it comes to anxiety, for instance, you get more benefit out of that activity if you're really in the moment with it. So kind of listening to your breathing, listening to what's going on around you. Like, are you hearing birds, or is there wind on your face? Can you hear traffic? I mean, it's just being aware of your situation can give you additional benefit from that activity. Working on a home improvement project was one that I got a kick out of because I am somebody who doesn't know how to do that kind of stuff. And I think anybody who is kind of a wizard. Like, you rock if you can do that. That is so awesome. And then, I mean, something as simple as working in the yard. Anything's better than nothing, right? So the more you do, as long as you're not hurting yourself, we want everybody to be super careful, right? The long-term goal can be to do it 30 minutes, 5 days a week, okay? It does not have to be all at once. That sounds cool on paper, but again, if you're somebody who has a lot going on in your life, you may not have time to do that. So even if you've got 10 minutes here and there, then you could do a little something. So maybe on breaks, or after your lunch, you're gonna go for a little 10-minute walk. So if that ends up being 3 10-minute sessions in a day, bam, you got your 30 minutes and you met your goal. That is awesome. Sometimes even like 5 minutes. Anything is better than nothing. And also, again, this is mental health we're talking about. Sometimes we don't have a lot of energy. Do what you can when you can, okay? So it could be walking a certain distance. So maybe when you're first starting, if your function is really low, maybe it's just walking to the television and back, and you start doing that more often, and then walking around in the house. Then going outside, maybe that's where you're gonna start. 2 houses down, then tomorrow 3 houses down, and the next day 4 houses down, okay? Or walking around your apartment building once, then twice, then 3 times, okay? Choosing a place that makes you feel good emotionally can be really helpful as well. So for instance, if you really like being in the mall, doing that walk-in before the mall's open can be really good for folks that do that, that like that. Walking around in stores can be helpful. Go to your local big box store and walk around. I don't want to advertise anybody, but where you like to go, okay? I like the parks, and I'm really lucky here in Vegas because we have Sunset Park, and it has trails that are more like walking in the desert trails, and then we have some that are just like walking in the park trails. So that can be a good thing for some people to do. And then remember, when you have accomplished some activity, make sure that you pat yourself on the back. even if it's just 5 minutes. It's so important to reward yourself for a job well done. If you haven't been able to do 20 minutes today, that's okay. Maybe you'll be able to tomorrow, okay? It helps keep us going when we reward ourselves with that positive feedback, okay? Maybe a bubble bath, maybe an extra episode of one of your favorite TV programs. You can kind of play around. Everybody likes different stuff. Reward yourself with whatever works for you. Thank you so much for listening to me today. This is Adrienne, the Turquoise Lady, with Chicken and Life. Bye-bye.